Hello everybody, my name is Emily, I am a Littlest Pet Shop customizer, and welcome to making a Littlest Pet Shop into a Pop Mart inspired figure. Pop Mart wasn't always a Labubu capitalist hellscape. There is so much art on that website that goes unnoticed. Today, I want to create something with sort of a Pop Mart vibe. Maybe some chunky feeties, a cute pose, a glossy accessory. So everybody, make sure you hold on to your Labubus, or your, what's the plural? Labubi? Labubies? And enjoy today's video. Let's get started. For the design, my main inspiration was strawberry and apple, and the newer so-called whimsy twee aesthetic. Number 1 has art teacher vibes. I wanted to add leg warmers like the Azura dolls and mimic the chonky arms and legs that Pop Mart dolls tend to have. Number 2 is full strawberry hat, which I liked, so I ran with that for the third design. What I ended up with is a strawberry hat Siamese kitty with an apple ladybug purse, a starry dress, green leggings, white leg warmers, and bubbly eyelashes. First, we need to sacrifice an LOL doll to use as the base of her body. And yes, this is my body container where I keep all of the LOL dolls that I use for customizing. We will not be needing Mrs.'s head, just the LOL doll body and her dress. We need an LPS as well, so let's grab this sweet girl who, before you come at me, is very common. The G7 LPS short hair mold just isn't the same. It doesn't have the chubby cheeks that I like to see on a short hair, so I'm crossing my fingers and tootsies that the mold is changed back to the original so that I don't have to sacrifice my original short hairs for the sacred art form of making animals stand upright with cute outfits. I remove her original paint with some acetone and get into all of her nooks and crannies. I cut the ball joint off of the LOL doll. We won't be needing this joint specifically. The last few times that I've used LOL doll bodies, you've been able to tell that they're LOL dolls, and this time I'd rather just use it as a base. So we need to stylize her by getting rid of her little divots and make her legs chunky but straight. I use epoxy putty, which I have a firm hatred for, to create bigger legs. Once dry, I'm able to sand them down to be flush with the rest of the plastic. Look at those chonky legs. I shave down her neck peg so that it fits into the tiny LOL doll neck. I think since switching to polymer clay when sculpting on LPS, sculpting has turned into one of my favorite parts of the process. Now that I'm able to use my hands without gloves and use a clay that is so smooth and forgiving, it has been so much more enjoyable for me. I love seeing the silhouette change. My favorite is just altering the original mold ever so slightly so that it still looks like an LPS but has subtle differences that add more of a fluffiness to the pet. To add the polymer clay, I score the plastic and add a little bit of liquid clay adhesive before adding the polymer clay to the plastic. I get a lot of questions about putting the LPS in the oven, and no, it doesn't melt if you put it in at around 210 for 10 minutes. Not sure about the fumes, so do it at your own discretion. But we're here for a good time and not a long time, I guess. So for the strawberry hat, I worked in pieces. I flatten out the polymer clay with a candle, and then I cut the shapes out of the pieces and stick them onto the head one by one. It's almost like what I would imagine making a sewing pattern would be like. I blend all the parts together and add more clay on top of her head. If you're enjoying the video, please consider subscribing so we can hang out and craft together more. I love when you people tag me on Instagram and you show me what you're crafting when you're watching my videos, so if you're being crafty as well, show me what you're making. Show me, I want to see. I like to bake the LPS every time I move on to a new section. I like to do that as like a Skyrim quick save because I'm very good at denting uncured clay with my pointy nails. But wait, let's take a quick break to say thank you to today's sponsor, Unveil. Unveil is a website for artists, storytellers, writers, and lore makers to post their work and have everything in one place. It's a really comfy corner of the internet to make friends with other artists and share your work. Their mission statement is to encourage folks to create, inspire, and connect with one another. Post your characters, their life stories, add in their traits, and find someone else who also draws similar characters and collaborate. Unveil is a really calm piece of the internet that doesn't feel like a loud spinning tornado hellscape that the internet tends to feel like most of the time. It's really great to encourage others, be encouraged, to ask questions, learn, and most importantly, enjoy. It's not only for digital art either. I've uploaded a few of my physical LPS customs on there as well, and that counts as art too, silly. You can check out Unveil by using the link in the description. Thank you, Unveil, for sponsoring today's video. I tried making her Mary Janes out of green stuff epoxy clay, but battling with this stuff makes my head hurt. So I had the idea to get some LOL doll boots and transform them into the shoes. The only thing is that the shoes aren't as big and chunky as I would have wanted, but the LOL doll legs are so close together that it's a bit tough to do that anyways. But I think they turn out really cute. The leg warmers were definitely a battle. The physics of slouchy fabric being made out of something that cures rock solid was honestly tough for me to comprehend with my little artist brain. Me drop out of college to be YouTuber. Why fabric slouchy when made out of clay? How? Why? Anyways, I fought with this clay and I almost had a cry, but I'm stronger than I was during the first TV head video, which I did cry because I had no idea what I was doing. I was still a little baby noob. I think on my hard days, I'm going to start reminding myself that I am currently not making leg warmers out of super stiff clay while wearing gloves, and maybe I will cure my winter depression that way. Imagine if I just kept sculpting like this. Okay. Then I sculpt the details on the dress with green stuff because it'll self-adhere and air dry. For anyone curious, you cannot bake epoxy clay or LOL doll bodies, so I had to be strategic with the type of clay I was using. Anything put directly on the plastic vinyl of a Littlest Pet Shop can be baked in the oven with the LPS itself, but anything that can't be baked, you need to use air dry epoxy based clay. You need to use gloves while handling epoxy because it contains resin which is bad for your skin organ, and it's typically a lot more stiff, so I hate it and it's stupid. But obviously, sometimes you need to use it. I started making chonky paws out of green stuff, but switched to epoxy because it's a bit more forgiving when blending, which I definitely needed. I was really happy with the arm shape. It kind of reminds me of my Sporling Roblox avatar, and the little finger paws. Oh my gosh, they're adorable. I kept using hot water to soften the epoxy clays as I worked because they're high maintenance and need a little warm bath in order to cooperate. And in that way, epoxy clay and I are one of the same. For the ladybug purse, I made a bum shape out of polymer clay and added holes for the arms and legs that will be made out of string. I thought little eye pins would make super cute antennae, and they did, so I used those. I decided Homegirl needed a tail, but I didn't want to do anything large because of the logistics of the dress. The plan is to glue the back of the dress together once it's on the LOL doll because LOL doll dresses are all cut up in the back so you can take them on and off easily, so I went with a little nubbin deer tail. A few years ago, when I was considering adopting a cat, I went to the local pet rescue and met Monster, who had a cropped tail. He was so cute, but then he started tweaking out. He was playing and ripping everything apart, and images of my brand new couch flashed before my eyes. Needless to say, I have Calcifer, who is also a rescue cat, but I hope Monster found a home that gave him all of the couches he needed to absolutely shred. I'm a little worried about the tail in the dress. I don't know how far down I need to kind of cut the tail hole. There has to be a safer way to do that. I'm gonna warm up the blade with a hairdryer. time to paint. I do a dry brush coat on the entire body before I go in with an off-white base. I've been collecting toys, art toys, designer toys, knickknacks for a long time now, and I have a lot that I absolutely love. I've been collecting LPS for quite some time too. Let me know your favorite art toy brands or designer toys in the comments. Okay, so for the face, I do have pastels, but not necessarily the colors I'm looking for. But what I do have, am I crazy? I have had this makeup palette for so long. They don't sell this anymore. Also, they used to have a face powder, like a translucent setting powder, and I got it in my mouth once, and it tasted exactly how it smelled. Do what you will with that information. Don't eat makeup. But if you were to eat any makeup, just so happens that the peach tea flavor is like the exact kind of Siamese cat type of brown that I'm looking for. We're gonna try it first on the ears just to see how opaque we can get it. It takes really nicely.
It takes a pen, like no problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Layering the makeup on her face felt a little bit like a bad dream. Like the kind where you're running and you're not really running and something's catching up and then all of a sudden, Jeff Goldblum? It just kept layering so weird and would clump in places and was hard to even get around the nose. I say this every time, but I really need an airbrush. Like, I really need an airbrush, and maybe I'll get one on Black Friday. If you have any recommendations for a good airbrush, please let me know, because I've been putting it off for a while and I think I need one. I hope this looks good and not weird. She deserves little green tights. I need to figure out how to get this dress on this body. I'm gonna be honest, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I think I should paint it, and I should paint it while it's on her body, or else the paint will crack when I try to put it on. Right? Right. I think I'm gonna warm it up with a hairdryer. Oh, yes. Okay, it's super, super... Whoa. That's a lot easier to put on. Okay. Oh, this is bad. No. From the front, it looks good. The dress needs some cutting. What I perhaps should have done was add the dress during the sculpting process, and then I would have been able to kind of like fill in these gaps with some more clay and sculpt the dress onto her a little bit better. I was planning on gluing them all together, but since the arms are so thick, I can't do that anymore. I have to keep reminding myself that I am learning. I'm documenting the process of learning, and that's why I'm showing you. It's not going to be perfect. I left the underside of the dress sparkly pink because 1, it's a fun little surprise, and 2, I didn't trust myself to not get blue paint on her tummy, so 2 great points. I am really happy with how the stars on her dress turned out. I think it is so darling, so cute, and I need this dress right now. I decided to paint a teeny tiny seam on the bottom of the dress just to add a little bit of detail, and it really helps the dress look a lot better. I love adding little details like that really just transform the entire product. I chose a dark brown for the eyes, but it honestly came out kind of dark gray for some reason, which I wasn't really rocking with since her design is so soft. I end up fixing this later by making them the teensiest bit lighter with a brown wash. I pushed myself to do a new eye shape this time. Are you proud of me? I usually default to the scalloped eye shape because it is just so dynamic and soft, but this time I went for a more wavy or teardrop shape for the iris. I thought the green would be a really pretty complement to her green tights and match with this red strawberry hat. Eyes are still, I think, the most daunting part of the custom for me. Okay, it depends on how difficult the sculpt is, because if it's a really hard sculpt, then it's intimidating. But it's really just the lashes that are just so unpredictable for me. I can be super shaky one day, but then the next day be like epic pro gamer, so I love doing a little highlight by lightening the base color of the eye just a little bit and then doing a circle. It adds a lot of depth before you add the eye shine. I know we all loved a shaped eye shine, so I did little flowers. This really is just a summer, spring custom coming out in November, huh? I feel like the shape of the color plus the stars makes her eyes look like a toothpaste brand or something. Like, why is she sponsored by Colgate? I did her little eyebrows, but I darkened them later because they're a bit too Ariana Grande and Wicked right now. No shade, I just like a dark eyebrow. This is one of those customs where when I was working on it, I was like, oh yes, the sculpting is so cute, and oh my god, the paint's not working, oh my god, oh no. And then you look at it when it's done, and it's not as bad as you thought. I think I was staring at her for too long, you know, as artists usually do with their work. I think during the process, I started to realize how weirdly shaped the short hair faces are. Like, the snouts are so small. Short hairs are amongst some of the earliest molds that survived the generation transitions. As they kept making LPS, they kept changing the base molds of pets like ferrets, terriers, etc. But short hairs have stayed the same over the years, probably because of the abundance of other cat breeds. I love short-haired cat molds, but when I paint, I like an animal with more of a snout and more of a nose. Otters, my beloved. I added some gloss to her shoes too because glossy Mary Janes are so cute, and so I wanted them to be gloopy. I'm considering doing some design adopts over on my Instagram because I have so many unused designs that I think could use a good home. I think it'd be fun to sell them, so if you're interested in buying some of my custom character designs, make sure you let me know and I can try doing an adopt event on my Instagram. For the little ladybug bag, I used some cell phone straps for the string because I didn't have any string, so I had to get nifty and crafty. I painted these with the same brown that I used for her eyes and added a bit of resin to each one to seal it off and create little hands and feet. I had a lot of fun playing around with the design and with the silly little arms and legs, though I realized I didn't make the proper spots for the straps to connect. Oh no, oh no. This is supposed to be a purse. And once I attach the arms and legs, there are like no handles. There was supposed to be like stuff here so that I could hook it around the head. Theoretically, I guess I could just feed it through the... I guess that's kind of a perfect spot. But I'm okay with it just being like a little plushy friend because I didn't really feel like turning it into a purse that I wouldn't be able to take off. Oh my gosh, baby girl. I am not going to be able to get the head to bobble. I decided to super glue the head to the body to be more accurate to the Pop Mart style, so it doesn't bobble, but I prefer it that way. As always, please give me name ideas in the comments, and when I make an Instagram post, I'll choose my favorite and announce her name over there. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are a recurring viewer, welcome back, and thank you again for staying all the way till the end of the video. Alright, see you next time. Bye everybody! Yes, this is my body container where I keep all the LOL doll balls.